Hello everyone. I'm going to show two items that are not really record store day releases, but are record store day connected releases. So let's start with the first one. I was browsing some records online on my local record store, and you know they have these other people also looked at these records, and one of them was this one. Keith Richards solo single, and he mentioned that it's available, and I was like, how come it's available? This was released like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was sold out like ages ago. I have tried to find this online without any luck, so I decided to, well, I'll order it, and if it turns out to be a mistake that it's not available, I haven't lost anything. But about 2 weeks later, it did arrive, and this one comes with a postcard with Keith autograph, printed inner sleeve, which shows the other versions of this single release, and it's on great colored vinyl. Later on I found out that this isn't actually the Record Store Day release, this is a reprinting of Record Store Day release. But yeah, I was very glad to finally get that one. So when the first list of Record Store Day releases for April was announced, there were already 20 records there that was on my maybe list, although only one of them was a must-have. So as the weeks went by, I started thinking that there's no way that I can have 20 items on my list. That I have found out that I am very greedy when it comes to my list, that I want to buy everything. So I knew that I couldn't buy 20. So I decided to cut half of them off, so that by the time of Record Store Day I would have 10 items on my list, and I did manage to do so. I just cut off everything that I felt even a little bit hesitant. I was like, yeah, off. But so coming to the Record Store Day, I had 10 records on my list with only one must-have, but only about a week before, our local record shop, the X, announced the release of 4 albums, and 2 of those albums were ones that I had to have. So again, I had to cut 2 albums off from my list, but during the Record Store Day I had 10 albums on my list, which 3 of them were must-have. So I decided to do the same thing as I did a year before. 2 of the stores that I was going to open up at 8, and one of them open up at 10. So I decided to go to the first store about 9:30, by which time the crowd had cleared from first and second store, and by the time I would come to the third store, hopefully the crowd would have cleared from there as well. So walking into the store, the first thing I found was the item that was number 1 on my maybe list, and that is Golden Smoke EP, which I didn't even know that knew that existed. So yeah, I was very glad to get that one. Second one was one that I had originally cut off from my maybe list, but when I found out that it was recorded during the Henry's Dream Tour, which is my favorite from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, I decided to put this one back on my maybe list. Yeah, it's Live Seeds double album, 3-sided double album. Great live recording. Second one was also one that I momentarily considered dropping off from my maybe list, but decided to keep it on. This is Rory Gallagher live in San Diego, 74. I thought that I have enough live recordings from Rory Gallagher, but since this is from 74, during the same period as Irish Tour 74, which is not only my favorite live recording from Rory Gallagher, but also one of the all-time best live recordings. So yeah, I knew that this wasn't going to be as great as Irish Tour 74, but okay, same period, I had to have it. Unfortunately, the mix here isn't great. The piano is very low in the mix. I think that they simply failed to record Lou Martin's piano, so it's very low in the mix. The only way that you hear is, I'm guessing, is because it bled through other players' microphones onto the recording. Only the piano solo is clearly audible here. Otherwise, it's very low in the mix. But yeah, very good recording anyway. Then I don't think I found anything from the second store, because I remember that this one was from this third store. So going into the third store, there was still quite a lot of people there. And the first thing that I noticed when I walked in was some guy holding a record that was one of my must-haves. So I was worried that is there any copies left, but luckily there was 3 Onnen oikotielle. This only 100 copies were issued. I have waited this one for years and years, so I'm very glad that it finally got issued. On the record store day and the following days, there was a lot of talk online about this record, and I noticed that there were a lot of people who didn't manage to get this one, so I'm expecting there to be a second pressing sometime in the future. Second one was one also that I had to have of these last editions. That's Francine, Animal Beat. This is the album that they made a lineup change. The guitarist vocalist changed, and this also marked the beginning of the change in style. They became much more harder sounding band. But yeah, great album. Never owned this one myself. My brother had this, so I have heard this plenty of times. Very glad to get this one also. And the third one was the original only must-have item on my list. Sandy Denny, Live at the Royalty, Gold Dust. Yeah, very, very glad to get this one. I had this one on CD for 20 years. So yeah, pleased to have this one finally on vinyl. This is just slightly different to the CD release. Okay, one that was low on my maybe list. I wasn't so sure that do I need to get this one or not, but once I found this at the store, I bought it. The Offspring Greatest Hits. Also have this one on CD, so I thought that maybe CD is enough, but I do have Smash on vinyl also, so I wanted to get this one too. And final release on that day that I bought was Alice in Chains We Die Young EP. I don't consider myself to be a big Alice in Chains fan, but somehow over the years I've managed to buy about half of their releases, so yeah, I was glad to get this one also. Okay, that was the last Record Store Day release. Then, although I did find from this third store, I found a dozen singles, half of them being Sting singles and 4 of them being Police singles, but yeah, very glad to find a dozen singles also. So I thought that there were still 2 items missing from my list, but I found out that those 2 weren't issued in April. But I thought that okay, I have bought quite enough. I'm taking a month break from buying records, but it didn't turn out that way. Only about half a week later, I got an email saying that one of the records that I had ordered several months earlier that I didn't really even expect to ever arrive anymore had arrived. So going into the store to pick it up a week and a half later, I decided to look what was left, and one of them was Lou Reed, I'm So Free 1971 RCA demos. I haven't bought any of the previous Record Store Day releases from Lou Reed, but this one being so different, I decided to get this one. This is just Lou with acoustic guitar, and several of these songs I don't have at all because there's many Lou Reed albums that I don't own. Okay, that was it. But then, a week before this June Record Store Day, I went to a record store to buy another album totally unrelated to the Record Store Day. And while there, I saw this album, which I had dropped off from my list. This is Iggy Pop Berlin 91. I had dropped off this one from my list because I knew that this one would not be as ferocious as the 88 Boston Channel recording is, and I was right that it's not a match. The Boston 88 live is better than this one, but it's still a good one. There's plenty of power here, and this one was the tour that I saw him live for the first time. So yeah, glad to pick this one also. So coming into the June Record Store Day, there wasn't anything that was like a must-have for me. There was only 5 items on my maybe list, and it turned out that one of them, which was Jefferson Airplane live at Monterey, wasn't issued, and I have no knowledge about it at all. Is it completely pulled off, or will it be issued next year or something? I don't know. But yeah, so that left me with 4 items on my maybe list. So I was like, maybe I don't go at all. But again, there was a release that was issued. Was it 2 weeks earlier? I had tried to buy it, but I was so slow that the pressing simply got well, not the total pressing, but the stores sold out, so they had to order more from the record store. So on the record store day, I went to pick that one up, which I'm leaving off now. And but that was a reason for me to go to the record store on record store day. And also a week before, there was one other album released, which was originally issued on record store day a year before in the US only, which I had tried to find from online, but it was just too expensive for me. And that was Little Feat, Electric Lycanthrope, live at the Ultrasonic Studios 1974. Now, looking at this, I have tried to determine that is this a different pressing or is this the same pressing as the record store day release a year before, and I believe that this is the same one. The hype sticker is exactly the same. There are only 2 real differences between this one and the US pressing. One is that there's no record store day sticker, and on the US pressing there was a sticker here saying made in Germany. But also on the US version, as is on here, made in Germany is also printed here. Other than that, matrix number has one tiny difference. But I believe that these are the same pressing, only the US record store day release was issued first, and now a year later, the rest of the pressing was made available here in Europe. Okay, so one that was not issued in April, but got issued on June was Dio Double Dose of Donington, 2-song picture disc single. Not really sure why I wanted this, because there's been every record store, well, not every record store day, but every year during the past several years there's been Dio picture discs, and I only have bought one of those a few years ago. So, but yeah, I just wanted to have this one, and it's got great art here, don't you think? So, going into the second store, I found out one that was my most important, even though I didn't feel that it was a must-have. I didn't think that this was issued here at all. It was only a few days before record store day that one of the stores announced that they would have this one. Although later on I did find out that even a second store also had this one. But this is Sweet Relief, a benefit for Victoria Williams. Victoria Williams is sort of a folk artist, but her style is very unique, very different to most. So she attracted, was it MS disease? She's still alive from what I know, but yeah, they made a benefit record for her. No real superstars here except for Pearl Jam, but well-known names like Soul Asylum, Lucinda Williams, Lou Reed, Maria McKee, Matthew Sweet, Jayhawks, Waterboys, and this final track here is Holy Spirit by Michelle Schacht. And you may know that Michelle Schacht had a very famous court case against her record company. She wanted to be released and was released from her recording contract. So this may be the last track that was ever released from her, because at least I am not aware of any recordings released from Michelle Schacht after that court case. But yeah, I'm very glad to get this one into my collection. And one that I had decided not to buy on the April, I fell victim and bought it now. And that is Sandy Denny early home recordings. I just didn't want to go into this because I know that there's a lot of home recordings from Sandy Denny, a lot of home recordings and demo recordings, and I have some of them on different CDs, but this was just something that I didn't just want to go down to. And this is a double album with just Sandy and acoustic guitar. Yeah, it's a great one, but I just don't want to go trying to accumulate everything that there is, because these recordings, as the sleeve notes say, are taking actually from a 19 CD box set. So 19 CD, yeah, I just don't want to think that I would be buying something like that. But okay, I'm glad that I have this, but I just hope that I'm not going to buy any more. Okay, going to the final store, I found one item that I wanted, and that's Creedence Clearwater Revival traveling band live at the Royal Albert Hall, and this one announces from the long anticipated forthcoming album CCR at the Royal Albert Hall. So there's going to be another live album from CCR that I'm going to buy. So glad to have this one. But that was the last one, although again I did find a few other singles. Other than that, there was only Ramones 7LP box set, but I knew that at this point I just wouldn't have money to buy it. To my knowledge, there are still several box sets left at the store, so maybe later, or maybe not, who knows. But that's it for this time. Hope you like this. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Bye.